Hello friends, I am Dilip Singh. Welcome to the third JavaScript lecture of the tutorial series for web programming. Today we'll see JavaScript variables. What is variable? In JavaScript, we can say simply variable are the containers for values, named containers. Okay, so variable are basically a container having some name that can hold some values in JavaScript. So variables are a named container for values, or we can say simply variables are the named identifier which can store some values. Okay, basically variables are same. We can define we can define the name of a variable same as a Java or C or C++. So variable name contains only alphabet, a capital A to capital J or small a to small j or 0 to 9, and the symbol, special symbol, underscore, and the dollar. So we can create a variable name using these letters, this alphabet, capital A to Z, small a to Z, and the number 0 to 9, and the underscore and the dollar. The combination of these number we can use in order to create the variable name, but we have to remember that the first character should not be a digit. Okay, and one more thing, that the variable name is a case sensitive. Okay, so if we have created variable name as suppose my var, then we cannot use as capital My, capital VAR. So these are two different variable. Okay, variable name are case sensitive in JavaScript, and we cannot use reserved word or keywords of a JavaScript as our variable name. Okay, and in JavaScript, how we can create a variable? It's a very simple compared to C++ or Java creating variable in a JavaScript. Simply we have to use a keyword var in front of variable name. Okay, and JavaScript uses dynamic binding, means a variable can hold any type of value. Okay, so basically JavaScript not a strictly typed language, right? We can create a variable, and the variable can hold any type of value. It can be an integer value, it can be a string, it can be a Boolean, any value that JavaScript variable can store, right? So let's see some data types that the data types in a JavaScript. There are some primitive data types and special data types. Under primitive data types, there is a number, Boolean, and string data type, right? Basically, in simplest way, we can say variable can store three different type of values in JavaScript. Either the variable can store number, or the Boolean, or the string. What is number? Number are basically integer and floating point numbers, both. In JavaScript, there is no different way of representing the integer and the float numbers. Both integer and floats are represented using 64-bit, right? And both are treated as a number. And the Boolean basically is a data type which can hold either true or false value, right? And the string is any sequence of alphanumeric characters, correct? So we'll see how all these how we can create a variable and how we can store the number, boolean and string in our variable uh, soon in that examples, when we'll see the examples. Okay, let's see some special data types that JavaScript support is null, and the null can only have one value, that is null, which is used to represent nothing, no value. And undefined, another data type is undefined, right? And this is also having only one value, that is undefined, and it is used to represent the value of an uninitialized variable. If we have created the variable and if we have not initialized the variable, then its value will be undefined. If we'll access the value, then its value will be simply undefined in JavaScript. Okay, and there is a one function typeof, which is called typeof operator, right? Which we can use in order to know what is the type of our operand. Basically it tell the type of its operand. We'll see how it works. And finally we'll see an example, the type conversion. Basically what is type conversion? Type conversion means suppose we want to convert the string to the number, number to the string, or maybe number to the boolean, right? So how we can do type conversion, we'll see an example. So let's start the example. Here we are having a simple basic HTML code structure, very basic HTML page right now I'm having. In body section, which doesn't have anything, and the title given JavaScript variable. So if I'll run this page, then sorry, here I have saved it as a variable.html, and I'll double click, and you can see JavaScript variable is a title, and that web page is empty because there is nothing in body section in our code. You can see here, right? So page is empty. Now let us start creating the variables using JavaScript. So we know that we can put the JavaScript in anywhere in the HTML document. So let's put it into the again head section using script tag. I'll open the script tag, then I will close the script tag, and within that script tag we can write all our JavaScript code. So the first thing, in order to declare the variable, we have to use var keyword. It's a keyword provided by the JavaScript to create the variable. So we'll use var keyword, var, and after that keyword we have to give the name of a variable. Okay, so suppose here I want to give the name my variable. You can give any name, but remember that the name, the first letter of a name should not be a digit, and the name of a variable is a combination of alphanumeric values plus two special character we can use, that is underscore and dollar in JavaScript. Okay, so this is how we have created the variable in JavaScript. We simply have to use keyword var and the name of a variable. Now this my variable is a variable name. Now my variable act as a container here, which can hold any value, right? Which can hold basically a three category of value that we already have discussed. So my variable can hold either the string value or the number value. Number can be integer or float, right? And it can hold the boolean value also. So let's see, let's suppose how I can assign a value to the variable, my variable. Simply I will use my variable equal to, and if you want to store the integer or float number, we simply write that integer value. Suppose I want to store here 125. Okay, now 125 is stored into the my variable, right? And suppose now I want to show the value of variable. How I can show the value of variable, my variable? um, Maybe either in web page direct using document dot write function. You may be remembered in the previous lectures, we in our first lecture basically we have seen this function, JavaScript predefined function document dot write, and here we can use my variable as a parameter, my variable, and I'll save it. And let's see, if I'll go to the browser, I'll refresh it, you can see 125 appeared. Okay, why 125 appeared? Because what I have done here, I made it in our document, HTML document, write the value of my variable, and we know my variable hold 125 within it, so that browser simply write the value of my variable, which is 125. If I'll change in place of 125 to some bigger value and save, and if I'll go to the browser and refresh it, you can see that bigger value will appear. Okay, so this is an integer, and similarly we can store the float also. So suppose float value 125 dot something this, right? The float value having the fractional part also, right? So let's save it, and we'll go to the browser, refresh it, you can see the float value appear here, right? So my variable can hold the integer value or float value. When my variable store the integer value, my variable will act as an integer. When it store the float value, act as a float. And even we can store, suppose I don't want to store that integer, I want to store some string value in our my variable. So remember that the string value we can provide using double quote or single quote. So here double quote, I prefer double quote in order to provide the string value. So in case of integer and float, no need to use single or double quote, but in case of a string we have to put full string inside the double quote. So suppose variable name is suppose variable my variable hold the string value, and string is we are learning variables. Okay, I'll save it, and I'll go to the browser and refresh it. You can see we are learning the variables, right? So this is the string. This string is stored in my variable, and what I have done, I simply used document.write function in order to write the value of my variable to the our HTML web page. Okay, so this is how we can create the variable, and we can assign the initial value to our variable. Suppose we have not created the variable, we have not assigned the value to the variable, simply we have declared the variable here, my variable, but my variable doesn't have assigned any value. But now we want to write some that value of my variable into the documents. Let's see what exactly output appear. If I refresh it, it's come undefined. So we have learned there is a special category of data types in JavaScript. One is null and another is undefined. So undefined appeared because we have not assigned or initialized the value of this variable. So by default it is undefined. You can see here the output is undefined. Okay, right. Now, so these are how we can use where keyword in order to create the variable. And in variable we can store either number, boolean, or string. Number we can store simply putting the number into the variable name, right? Similarly the float or integer, anyone. String we can use, we can put into the variable name, or we can store into the variable name by using double quote, right? And the boolean value we can simply assign true or false to the variable name. Okay, now let's see how what type of operator actually do. So suppose here I have used variable name myvar, and in same line also I can initialize the value. Suppose I have given here a 12 and I'll save it. Now if I want to know what is the type of my variable, so we know this is a number. So let's see how we can know, by using typeof operator or function. So I simply use type of, and type of what, my variable. So I'll put here my variable. What I want to know what is the type of my variable, and I want to show as a alert box. So within the alert box, right, in the previous lecture we have seen alert box is used to show the message as a alert dialog box. Okay, as a dialog box basically. So here alert box will appear, which will tell the type of my variable. So let's see how it works. I'll refresh it and it's a 12, and here in alert box it says that it is a number, right? And if I will change it, in place of 12 in double quote I will put something, suppose my string. So it's basically a string. So let's see what our alert box will say. Yeah, it's a string, its a type is a string. So type of operator or type of function simply tell the type of its operand. Here operand is my variable. Okay, now let's see how we can convert one type to the another type, right? And but before going to the conversion, let's see another thing, that how we can concatenate two string in JavaScript. So in order to concatenate two string in JavaScript we use plus, right? Suppose let's create a variable first name, and I'll put here suppose Dilip, right? Then again I will create another variable last name, and I'll give the value Singh. Okay, right. Now what I want to concatenate this Dilip and Singh into the third string variable, right? How I will do, I can simply use plus sign in order to concatenate these two string. One is Dilip and another one is Singh here. So maybe where result equal to, I can use first name plus last name. Okay, and let's write the result, and I'll make here comment, so I don't want to be alert box be interpreted by the browser. So what would be the result? So let's say the result will be, if I'll refresh it, let's see, there is something wrong. The variable first name plus first, it's a typo mistake, spelling mistake, first first name. Now if I'll go to the browser, I will refresh it, you can see it's a Dilip Singh are now become one string. So Dilip was another string in our code, Singh was another, but we have used plus sign to concatenate these two string to make single one string, right? If we want to space between these, so we can provide here at the last space in control as. Now there would be a space between Dilip and Singh here. Okay, so this is how we can use plus sign to concatenate one or more strings. Suppose here result will be, here I want to, in double quote I can put another string hello, right, and then again I'll make plus. So this string hello is concatenated by the string stored in the first name variable, and then the string is stored in the last name variable. Let's see what is the result. See, hello Dilip Singh. So this is how we can use plus sign in order to concatenate one or more more than two strings. Okay, and now the last thing of this lecture is a type conversion. So let's see how we can convert one type to another type. Okay, so under type conversion, let me tell you one thing, that null, undefined and double quote, simply without putting anything between double quote. This double quote is called empty string, basically empty string, because we know that we represent the string within the double quote, but within the double quote if you will not put anything, it become a empty string, right? So null, undefined and empty string in JavaScript basically treated as a false value, okay. So this is the first thing that we have to remember. Null, undefined and empty string is treated as a false in JavaScript, right? And now suppose I want to convert a value to a number. How we can convert a value to a number? Simply let's see this with an example. I'll remove it, and I will create one variable, and the variable name is suppose var1. Okay, so var1 equal to, here in double quote if I'll put 10, so what, whether it is a string or a number. So since 10 is in double quote, the JavaScript will treat 10 as a string, because anything we will put under the double quote will be string. Okay, so now if I want to, let's see whether it is a string or a number. Suppose I want to perform one operation. What? Where 1 equal to where 1 plus 10, what should be the output? If I'll put here where 1 as a resulting output, what should be the output? If it is an integer, then 10 plus 10 it should be 20, but let's see how browser interpret this. If I'll refresh it, it become not 20, it become 10 and 10. Why it become 10 and 10? Because the var1 here we have put it this 10 within the double quote, so JavaScript treat this 10 as a string. So when we'll concatenate var1 is a string, plus now act as a concatenation. So if we will concatenate one string to anything, it can be a number, then it will become a string. So 10 will be concatenated by 10, and 10 will become another string. Okay, so how we can treat it as a number? Simply if I will use, suppose var equal to var minus 0, right? And now if I'll use var1 equal to var1 plus 10. Let's see what is the output. If I'll go to the browser, I'll refresh it, you can see now it become 20. How it become 20? See, here we have done the type conversion. How? Where one is a holding a string. What I done, from that string, if I will subtract a 0, the JavaScript will convert that string to the number, equivalent number. It should be number then, right? So equivalent number. And after that, where one is converted to the number, then we can use any arithmetic operation. Like I have here added 10 into the number where 1 10, right? So this line used to convert a value to a number, right? Similarly, suppose I removed it, okay, and now I'll remove this also, and now if I will use this, what would be the output? 10 is a number and variable 1 representing the 10. If I'll add variable 1 plus 10, means 10 plus 10 will become 20. So refresh it, it is 20, it's working properly. But what I want to convert this number into the string. How we can do? Again, simply I can use var 1 equal to var 1 plus empty string. Okay, means this line will convert the integer into the string. So now the result will be, since now var 1 is converted into the string, so if we'll add a string to the anything, number or a string, it will concatenate. So now the result will be 10 10, right? Let's see, if I'll refresh it, the result is 10 10, because now this number is converted into a string and here string concatenation is taken place, right? So this is how we can convert the string to the number and number to the string. Okay, so hope this variable portion of a JavaScript is clear to you all. But if you have any query regarding any concept of this lecture, then please ask in the comments. So friends, after watching this video lecture, if you feel that it was really helpful to learn the concepts, then please like and subscribe the video. Thank you guys.